All right, well, I just want to start with a quick review of what we talked about last week, and then we're going to take this class period to actually do some writing in small groups, okay? So I'm not going to add to the content, but if you have notes from last week, then you should probably pull those out. If you don't have these things written down, you should probably write them down, so you'll need a piece of paper and a pencil. Your paragraph that you're going to write in class today, maybe you'll get to your second body paragraph, we'll just have to see. It needs to have 4 parts to it. So we're writing persuasive paragraphs. And do you remember the ingredients, the 4 ingredients of a persuasive paragraph? And they don't have to be in the correct order when you're putting them out there. Could somebody just raise your hand if you can remember something? Go ahead, Jake.
The claim, data, warrant, and was it impact?
Yeah, so those are out of order how you said it, but that's excellent, okay? So you have 4 things. You have the claim, the warrant, the data, and the impact. And now let's get into those. We're going to put them in order, and I want you guys to give me definitions of each. So let's start with the claim. Someone else, I want you to tell me what a claim is. What is a claim? You can look at your notes, or you can look at my PowerPoint.
It's like one of your points that goes along with your main topic.
Yeah, Michael, that's a really good way to explain it. So it is the point that you're trying to prove. All of you should write that down, because when you're writing your paragraph, you're going to include these 4 things in this order. So first, you're going to start with a claim. The claim is defined as the point that you are trying to prove. It is your opinion. It is biased. Sometimes in expository writing, it looks like a fact, but what do we know about facts? Are facts always true? Yes or no? Everyone shake your head. No, facts are not always true. Facts are just anything that can be verified. All right, so after you issue that claim, what's the first question that your reader or your listeners are going to have? What are they going to ask? Do you remember?
How or why?
Good job, Jake. Yeah, it's how or why is that claim true? How or why should I believe you? So the next part of your paragraph, after you write your claim, which is usually 1 sentence, and we call that a topic sentence, but in persuasive writing, it's known as a claim. Okay, so after you write your claim, then you're going to move to your warrant. And a warrant, just like in law, if I come search your house, I have to have a reason to search your house. I have to have a warrant to search your house. So a warrant is nothing more than a reason. So it is a reason why your claim is true. It is a reason how your claim is true. All right, what comes after the warrant?
Data.
Good job, Brittany. It's the data, or the data, or however you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And what is the purpose of the data? What is the purpose of your data? Let me help you out. Does it prove the claim to be true, or does it prove, or what is it really supporting? Is it supporting your claim, or is it supporting your warrant?
Warrant?
Yes, it supports the warrant, which if you can support the warrant, you're actually also supporting your claim. Yep, I read your lips there. So, okay, so you've got to prove that warrant to be true. Stephen Toulmin, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. He's a guy that studied like persuasion for a long time and argumentation. And he said, if you're going to be effective at persuading somebody, you've got to take the piece that you're trying to persuade and you have to attach it to something they already believe. So really, this is the process of attaching that claim to that warrant. So if you can get them to believe both sides of that, then they're going to start believing your argument. So claim, warrant, and data. What's the last part of your argument? It starts with an I. What's the last part? All right, it's the impact. Brittany, do you have a definition for the impact?
It's when your audience, like, I don't know. Reason your audience should care about the argument.
Yeah, you do know it. And if you don't know it, it's probably in your notes. So good job. It is the reason why your argument matters. It's what is significant about your audience. Or I'm sorry, not your audience, but your argument. Okay, I have some examples from students who have written claim, warrant, data impact paragraphs. In fact, they did this the last 9 weeks of school. And I'm going to share those with you, and we'll take a look at them together so you have some examples to look at. All right, so composition 3, and let's go to classwork. We'll go to the argumentative writing, and you're going to see that there's a lot underneath that. So again, let's just go through these so you know what you have at your disposal before you get started. These are the resources where it says thesis statement and body paragraph 1. There are 3 resources. The PowerPoint that I went through last week is still here. So if you're struggling with those terms and you don't know what they mean, go back to that PowerPoint. Also, this is a really cool document that I want you to look at too, because it takes that PowerPoint and it condenses it all down into one document for you. And it gives you an example of each. So like, here's the claim, it's the point that you're trying to prove, the warrant, data, impact, and it gives you examples. The last thing that I just put in there today is examples of claim, warrant, data, impact paragraphs. And we're gonna look at a few of these together. Okay, so I'm going to call on some readers and we're going to analyze. Analyze means to break down the information so we can see each part of this particular argument. So can you all pull this document up for me? And then we are also, I'm going to have to expand this so I can see all the names of the people in the class here. They're playing some 1970s music right now. It's pretty killer. Okay. All right, let's start. So Brielle, would you be my first reader? We're going to look at the first paragraph. This paragraph, the topic is Star Wars, and this person is going to make a claim about Star Wars and then prove it to us, okay? So Brielle, would you read it out loud? And as she's reading, everybody, I want you to think about if you had to highlight this document, what would be the claim? What would be the warrant? What would be the data, etc.? Go ahead.
The movie Star Wars revolutionized special effects in cinema. The Star Wars special effects team made many new discoveries while working on the movie. The editors of Encyclopedia Britannica state the film won 6 Academy Awards along with Special Achievement Award for accomplishments in sound, and it revolutionized the motion picture industry with its advancements in special effects. Star Wars introduced the effect of large spaceships in space and large planets. This advancement in special effects paved the way for many more advancements along the way, including large-scale battle scenes.
Okay, so I'm going to start asking you questions. If you don't know the answer, just give it your best guess, okay? Nobody's going to be like exempt from questions here. So Brittany, I want you to tell me read the claim to me. What is the claim? What is the point?
The Star Wars special effect team made new discoveries while working on the movie.
Well, the claim would be the topic sentence, right? So what's the very first
yeah.
sentence there?
The
Read
movie
that very
Star
first sentence.
Wars. The movie Star Wars revoked special effects in cinema.
Okay, so how or why is that true? That's the first question your audience is going to ask. So Brandy, can you read to me the warrant that answers that question?
I have no idea because I'm still trying to find this.
Oh, that's okay. Can you see my screen?
It's like cutting it off with,
It's cutting it off. Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
How's it now? Is it cutting it off still?
I think it's on my side, like on my end.
Okay, that's all right. Well, I'll go to somebody else for a while, okay? Let's go to Jake. Jake, can you tell me the warrant? How or why did the Star Wars movie revolutionize special effects in cinema? Which part is your warrant?
I'm kind of confused.
Okay, so you know there's 4 parts to this paragraph, right? What's the first one called?
The claim.
The claim. Okay, what's the second part called?
The warrant.
The warrant. So we established that the claim here is the first sentence. So logically, where do you think the warrant is going to be?
Right after the claim.
Okay, so read the very next sentence.
The Star Wars special effects team made many new discoveries while working on the movie.
Okay, and then we move to the data. So Michael, what part is the data?
Um, would it be that
Where-
it introduced the effect of large spaceships?
I didn't hear you, Michael. I'm sorry. Just read the sentence that you think it is.
Star Wars introduced the effect of large spaceships in space and large planets.
Nope, actually that would be the last part. So again, there's 4 parts, right, guys? We're just moving in order. So the first sentence is called the what? Everyone.
Claim.
The claim. What's the second sentence called?
Warrant.
The warrant, okay? And what's the next part of this paragraph called?
Data.
The data. Okay, so we just said that the warrant was the second sentence. So where do you think the data starts? Sentence number 3, right? Does that seem kind of like a quote, fact, or example? Does that seem like information or evidence to you? It's coming from the Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Okay, and then the last part of this would be the impact. And let's see, well, you're not a student, you're a helper. Let's see who else is in here. Okay, Nick, are you there? Nick Collins, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Nick Collins, tell me what is the purpose of the impact? What is it supposed to do?
Is it like describing the biggest reason that it has revolutionized the special effects in cinema?
What is the purpose of a I'm sorry, did I say warrant? I meant impact. What is the purpose of an impact? This last part that's highlighted. Are you still with me? Okay, let's move on. All right, let's look at a couple other paragraphs here so you can see their parts. Let's go to, let's go back to my example. So the kids, okay, let's look at each part of this. Here's a claim. I'm on a different page now, okay? This page is called, it's a different resource, Understanding Claim, Warrant, Data, Impact. Okay, look at this particular paragraph and you can see it in all of its parts. The very first sentence says, capital punishment is costly. Brittany, what is capital punishment?
Costly.
Yeah, it is costly, but what is capital punishment? What is the topic of this paragraph? What are we talking about here?
I don't know.
Brielle, do you know what capital punishment is?
I'm guessing you go to court in front of the Capitol.
Okay, well,
It's
it involves
execution.
court. Who's speaking? Is it Michael?
It's execution.
Okay, so we're talking about the death penalty here, okay? So here, these are the 4 parts of a whole paragraph. Now, in paragraph, of course, we wouldn't separate them out. We'd keep them all together, but we're going to start with this claim. This says capital punishment is costly. This means the death penalty is costly. What do I mean by costly, Jake?
Very expensive.
Okay, so we could paraphrase that. We could say the death penalty is very expensive. Now, as soon as I make that claim, Brandy, what is the first question my audience is going to ask in their minds?
Who or why?
How or why is that claim true? If I'm going to believe it, I need to have a warrant. So let's move to the second sentence of the paragraph. It says it costs more to execute, it costs more to kill an inmate or a prisoner on death row than it does to keep him or her in a cell. So what is that actually saying, Michael? Put it in your own words.
More or less saying that it's just not worth executing them, and it's just cheaper for everybody to keep them in their cell.
Okay, to keep somebody in a cage, basically, it's going to cost less to cage someone than to execute him or her. Okay, so that's called a warrant. It has to answer the question, how or why is the claim true? My claim was that it costs a lot of money to kill people. My warrant tells us how or why that's true. Well, because it costs more to kill somebody than it does to keep him or her in a prison cell. Do you think that's an effective warrant? Does it really answer the question how or why that's true? Brittany, you're shaking your head yes? Okay, so warrants are kind of making sense. Let's move on. The data has to prove the warrant. So look at the data. It says according to the death penalty database. And by the way, anytime that you have a quote and it's starting with according to and it gives a source, usually that's the data component. Usually this is evidence. Usually this is information. It says according to the death penalty database, the death penalty costs on average $1.6 million more than giving a criminal a life sentence. Does that prove the warrant to be true? Does it say the same thing as the warrant did? Yeah, give me some feedback, folks, with your heads, because I can't hear you. Is it saying the same thing? Okay, all right, then move to the impact. The impact has to tell me why that's important. Why should I, as a taxpayer, care about this particular argument? What do you think it's going to say before we even read it? It's going to talk about my wallet, right? As a taxpayer. So here it says, this decrease in spending would allow states to fund important initiatives that actually deter crime. So this is telling you that we could save money and we could use it in ways to actually help people not commit crimes. So it has 4 parts, and I just take those 4 parts and then I put them into a paragraph. When I put them into a paragraph, it looks more like this if we go back to the PowerPoint. Right here. So I had just outlined all 4 of those, but I could literally put them all together and form a paragraph out of it. Do those 4 things, are they starting to make sense? Okay, so another question would be then for the leaders and the helpers in here, are they making sense enough to everybody that's leading that we could do some small groups and help kids write these kind of paragraphs?
Yes.
Okay, all right, well, let's do that. So everybody, if you will go to the classroom page and then go to the argumentative writing tab. There are really 3 assignments under this. The first one is already due, and I'm not sure who has turned that in and who has not turned it in. It's your thesis statement, and looks like I've still got a few of those that are missing. So remember, last week you worked on a thesis statement, and that thesis statement had 3 parts to it: a topic, a controlling idea, and a forecast. Well, let's take a look at some of the thesis statements that you turned in, because they were pretty good. Assigned and graded. Here we go. So we're looking at Brandy's first, and I gave you a comment over here that I want you to look at, Brandy. Oops, can I move it? All right, so a thesis statement for Brandy would be, therapy dogs can help people with disabilities experience peace and joy while providing mental distraction. Okay, and then from that, she's going to form her 3 claims, which she's already basically got put down here. We could look at another one that's been turned in. Let's see, Jake. Whoop, you just turned yours in today, didn't you, bud? go to Brittany. All right, Brittany says, vaping should be outlawed because it releases metals in your lungs. You could get addicted to nicotine and you could affect your heart and die from vaping. And then she created her 3 claims. You're gonna go back to this document. For each one of these 3 claims, you're gonna build a body paragraph. But the one that I want you to focus on right now for this week is just your first claim. You've already written it. Well, kind of. Make sure that you look at my notes about the claims and whatnot. But anyway, go back to that document. I want you to look at your claim for the first body paragraph. Oops, where'd you guys go? Technology's not my friend. Okay, look at your claim for the first body paragraph, and then you're going to go in and you've got a couple things that you can do. First, you could look at the body paragraph 1 outline, which looks like this. And it says you can use this document to outline your first body paragraph. This is an outline, not a paragraph. It does not need to sound fluent. We'll work on paragraphing and transitions later. So you would rewrite your claim here. Then you would answer how or why that's true. Give me a piece of data that proves your warrant, and then tell me why it's important and why it matters, okay? And then from that, you could actually make your paragraph, and you could make it sound a little bit more fluent. So the last assignment on there is where you're actually going to put your body paragraph. Does that make sense? So outline a body paragraph, write a body paragraph. Think you can do that? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Okay, all right, so let's put you in small groups.